If you're interested in marketing attribution and you've ever been on LinkedIn, then you've probably heard about people talking about the question, how did you hear about us? And adding it to your bottom of funnel forms. This is a hugely popular thing. Chris Walker talks about it all the time. But I'm going to tell you the one thing that Chris Walker is not going to tell you about self attribution, and that's how you can use AI to enable it in HubSpot. So if you've implemented self-attribution, this workflow probably looks pretty familiar to you. When someone fills out a form, they're going to answer the question, how did you hear about us? But in order to quantify that data for reporting, you need to put it into buckets. So here we've got all of our different self-attribution buckets or lead sources, whatever you want to call this property. It's just a big drop-down property that has every single option for where we think people could come from. And this workflow is really big and unwieldy, and it has this if-then branch that has just a massive amount of information in it. Because essentially what we're trying to do here is guess what people would say in this open text field to indicate that they belong in one of these buckets. So some of them are relatively straightforward, like CEO relationship. If someone mentions Connor or Jeffers, then they probably belong in the CEO relationship bucket. But what if they're talking about some other Connor? Maybe they don't belong in there. Community, we have mentioned some of our communities that we're active in here, but there's likely ones that our employees are active in that we haven't thought of, and there's no way that this workflow would catch them. Similarly, on LinkedIn, a lot of people will fill out a form and just say like, oh, I follow Matt, I follow Ryan, I follow whoever, and it doesn't capture that. So this is a really fallible system for bucketing people into these different categories. So this is the old way of doing it. I'm going to show you how Aptitude 8 has elevated this experience using AI and made it so much easier and more efficient. So this is new AI-powered self-attribution. The workflow looks extremely similar. You've still got the same trigger of how did you hear about us? You've still got this branch at the bottom, but you'll notice there's not a ton of if-then criteria here. And that's because we have this action right here, this generate action. Generate is an app that our dev team developed, and it essentially allows you to send a prompt from a workflow to OpenAI's GPT 3.5. So this prompt describes all of our different lead source categories in some amount of detail, and then says, based on the response to how did you hear about us, which lead source option would you choose? And it looks at the data within the response and it selects a category for us. And in testing this out, it is so much more accurate and it is so much easier to maintain this workflow that I will never go back to doing it the old way. This is one of many ways that Aptitude 8 is using AI and HubSpot to revolutionize the way we do CRM operations. So if you want to know more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly on LinkedIn. I'd love to chat.